Hey educators, in this video I'm going to talk about how I use AI to grade and give quality feedback, some of the major criticisms of using AI and feedback, as well as how important it is to keep the human in the loop. That's you at all times. My name is Andrew. I'm going to be your co-teacher with CoGrader. In this series, we're going to dive into a bunch of the common questions and criticisms that teachers have about using AI to give feedback on student work. So this is going to be multi-part, like each video is going to have a different part. So let's start with probably the most fun one. And here are some comments over here or over here, I'm not really sure. But this one is, so use AI to make grading papers easier, cheating, and detect cheating students seems a bit hypocritical to me. And these Facebook comments come from a post from CoGrader that had like 200, 300 comments. Use AI to grade the papers. There's a twist. We're going to let them grade them. We should let students use AI to write them. There's no substitute for human interaction and feedback. And then this was a good Spider-Man meme that I saw. It's funny to use an AI tool to grade and give feedback on student work that also checks student work for use for an AI tool. That kind of, begs the question, like, are we just entering a dead internet theory where teachers are going to use AI to grade AI written things, which then is going to train AI models? This idea of dead internet theory is really interesting, where most of the internet traffic is just like bots going back and forth, just talking to each other. That's not necessarily going to happen. This really gets into an interesting question, which isn't just how do we use this like many of those commenters assumed we would, by simply not even reading the student's writing. And instead, why should we and how do we use it ethically? So I will get into some ethical questions of should we use this to grade student writing or to write feedback on student writing. But at first I want to start about what we should not do. There is a difference, and I have another video on this on CoGrader where I propose what's called the Tom Sawyer test, or what I'm calling that as an English teacher, where the real difference here is the context and the purpose for which we are using the AI model. Because if you've ever taken a philosophy class, there are very few certain answers. A lot of it is subjective and depends entirely on the context. Take a look at that video for a much more detailed exploration of AI cheating. But here's some comments that sort of you see on the internet. Kids don't cheat, but it's okay if we do. But this response here, yes, because we're adults who do much of our grading on our own unpaid time, and we have done the work, some of us way before the internet. This person is right, because we know how to write feedback, or we think we do, right? We've been doing this for a while. So we're not cheating, because the purpose of this is not to learn how to write feedback. The purpose of feedback is a few different purposes. And this comes out of research from Hattie's Visible Learning for Teachers, Rollins Learning in the Fast Lane, How to Give Effective Feedback. I've done a lot of reading on what effective feedback should be. And effective feedback will do these three things. The first is it'll communicate how students performed against a specific success criteria. Second, it'll coach students how to improve their performance to achieve proficiency. And third, students have to actually use that feedback to improve their performance. So let's start with good feedback. And if we're using AI to give feedback, we should use AI to help us give feedback like this, right? Feedback that meets these three things: communicating how they performed, coaching them to improve their performance to achieve proficiency, and then helping them actually improve their performance. So as long as we're using AI to give feedback that does that, that is what matters, right? Our feedback should be actually helpful, and AI can actually do that better. Take CoGrader, for example, right? What CoGrader and what we encourage is not what many of the commenters seem to think that we should do. Many of the commenters here are assuming that we will simply not even read the feedback. And that can't happen. At CoGrader, and me personally, I have always emphasized and will always emphasize a model where the AI does a lot of the doing, but the thinking, the decision-making is the human-in-the-loop model. So that human-in-the-loop model is the ethical way to utilize AI feedback. So it's not okay to do what these commenters are saying. We have to actually read our students' work. And I know I'm not the only person who's taught English or taught something and a student wrote something deeply personal that needed immediate attention. Where like my reading that student's writing got them help that they might not have told any other teacher. We have a responsibility as a teacher to know and understand our students' writing, what they need to help them grow as writers. And the only way we can do that is with the human in the loop model. We do still have to read their writing and revise the feedback. But if we do that, and it's just like this person says, because like I said, teachers have phenomenal ideas. This is just a week ago. That feedback needs to be reviewed and edited by the teacher. Everything CoGrader does is a suggestion. It drafts it for you, but it can't do your job for you. What it helps us do is be faster. Speed is a virtue in actually helping students improve their performance. So it's helpful to have the feedback suggested or drafted for me, because then I can grade 90 essays, which is 3 sections of sophomores, assuming they all turned it in, right? I can grade 90 essays in 2 hours with far better feedback than I would have left myself. And I'll get to that in the next video. But that human in the loop model, we should always add our personal touch to provide those nuanced and meaningful evaluations. So if we're not reading our students' writing and revising that feedback, we give all of that power to the AI and we take ourselves out of the loop, out of the decision-making model, and ultimately out of our role as teachers and our responsibility to our students. So when I was able to do that, I actually did more formative assessments, and I actually cared about that data. And if you're looking to get more into like how to use the data, like use the insights data that CoGrader can provide to actually help you plan and deliver better, more targeted, personalized instruction in less time, take a look at CoGrader's Gold certification course. That really walks through the pedagogy rather than just which buttons to click on a tool. That's important. Bronze certification does that, but the Gold certification is really where the rubber meets the road, and it like goes over how to use that AI feedback to actually change your teaching. My name is Andrew Gittner, like I said. Why should you trust me? Why do I know anything? And that's a fair question. I've asked that at the beginning of every single professional learning that I've done with somebody. So over the last 10 years, I've taught high school English in Colorado at charter and public schools. I've coached speech and debate. I've done some local and state level policy fellowships for education law, regulations, and implementation. I've supported educators as a union leader. I've done grading for Pearson. And I'm starting a new role as an ed tech specialist next year at my district. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about this series and helping teachers is because the magic moment in December of 2022, when I first, like after a student showed me ChatGPT on TikTok, and I added it, I threw in a student essay and just asked it for feedback, I was amazed. Yeah, the feedback was mediocre, but the real power in it was that like it could get better and it would. And right then it was like Lucy walking into Narnia for the first time, you know? Like I finally found, I felt like I found a way to become the teacher that I'd always wanted to be, because I was perpetually behind in grading. So shortly after that, I found CoGrader, and now like my real passion, what I'm really excited about is helping teachers be the kind of teacher that we've always wanted to be without burning out and quitting. If your school's anything like mine, you and your colleagues are already having these conversations or you're trying to start them. So hopefully this video helps you keep that going, adds perspective. And if you find this helpful, please share it with your colleagues, email it to your principal, send it to your district, put it in a newsletter, or definitely put it in the group chat, including the one with your admin that I know, or that I was in with my department and that every teacher I've met is in. Please like, subscribe so you get notifications for more. Ring that bell, as the Gen Alpha kids say. But please let me know what you think in the comments. And if you're curious about how to make some of these suggestions come to life in your classroom, so it's not just theory, it gets into practice, please ask below. Just like our students and just like the topic of this video, I need your feedback so I know what to do next too.